Ladies and gentlemen, hello, you're watching The Guest. We have in on this TV set Stevie Daik Njala Totolo, Managing Director of Gemini Multimedia Limited, freelance conference interpreter and voice-over talent. Sir, welcome to Gabon 24.
Good afternoon, and thank you so much for hosting me.
Good. So we go straight, please. To start with, do you confirm the above presentation made about you? Is there any other aspect of yours you want to add to complete your portfolio?
Well, you're totally right. I'm a conference interpreter, a voiceover coach and talent, but I'm also a motivator, public speaker, and I also help people find alternative things to the internet. That's what I do.
All right. Okay. So now, should you allow me, sir, because let's say that we do know each other a little bit, even though you've moved from the country for some time now.
Absolutely.
So, but viewers want to know. I mean, if you allow me to tease you a little bit, can we say that you are an entrepreneur from Gabon, Kenya, or from Rwanda? Because
well, fundamentally, from Gabon. I moved out of Gabon, that was 2001. I firstly spent 10 years in Ghana, came back in 2009, 2010, stayed in Gabon for 3 years, and then moved to Kenya for 1 year, moved back to Ghana, and then from Ghana I moved to Kigali, where I'm living right now. So I'm kind of a blog trotter, and I also have the experience of interpreting, so this makes me travel a lot. And because of the adoption of the English language, which is not my first language is French, people get confused when they see me speaking English. They're like, are you really French?
Yeah,
when I speak French, they're like, do you really speak English?
Yeah.
So there's a whole confusion. Do you know sometimes, so far in Rwanda where I live, so many people still think I'm Ghanaian. But I'm telling them I'm fine as long as I speak Twi, the local language. I'm Pan-African. My wife is from Kenya. I have no problem. You can call me a South African. That's okay.
Okay, so definitely, I mean, you identify yourself as a Pan-Africanist.
That's right.
But not as a Gabonese or
I am a
Ghanaian.
Gabonese fundamentally, but I love Africa. It's lovely.
All right. I mean, you're right. It's high time we talked about, Pan-Africanism, okay?
Yeah.
And that we feel, at ease wherever we can be all over the continent.
Absolutely.
Pretty good.
Absolutely.
Now, we got informed that you moved from the country. You said earlier, if you allow me, you moved from Gabon, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe you could tell us a little bit what were the motives, and how was the experience at the international level been so far?
Well, the first motive was like, when you finish your secondary education in Gabon, you are encouraged to solicit for a scholarship. And once you have scholarship, you want to experience other countries where you can learn something new. I decided to go to Ghana first, but I was not on scholarship. I was being taken care of by my mom. Shout out to my mom, she's been wonderful. And then I started with English as normally the subject that I was supposed to look for. Then I had an interest in media communication. That's why when I came back, we started working together in different TV stations and so on and so forth, the experience of radio. And then the trajectory changed to conference interpreting. I was fascinated with the fact of speaking English and French, or French and English at the same time during meetings. So then it turned out that I was interested in conference interpreting up until now. And after that, I also discovered voiceover, which is a complete different field. And I also became very interested in voiceover, and today I'm a coach right now. So this is what makes it a little bit kind of, like multitask, if you want.
Yeah, and I totally agree. A multitask entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
And why not maybe share with us your experience at the international level?
The experience is fantastic. It's been fantastic so far. The first journey was in Ghana, like I told you. The experience was nice. But then in 2008, I visited Rwanda, Kigali. I was fascinated with the country, the way they do business, the way the environment is very conducive. And I was like, why not trying here? Because I found out my skill is highly needed. And this is the type of country they're looking for professionals. And I say, why not? I'm fundamentally Pan-Africanist, so I would be glad to serve, to offer my skill to whatever country would like to host me. And I decided to come back in 2020, first alone, and then I told my wife to join me, and we've never regretted. So I service a lot of clients in conference interpreting, but I'm also developing voiceover classes and masterclass where I teach people how they can make money with their voice. your voice is actually a certificate, it's a diploma. Your accent is needed at the international level. So with your accent, you can make money reading script naturally. So it's a whole different world. If you see movies, if you see documentaries, if you see advertisement, it's voices at the background. But people think it's just a joke or it's just something small.
Oh, yeah.
It's something very interesting. So I decided to teach about online jobs first, but I also added voiceovers.
How does it work? I mean, suppose the viewers, one of the viewers, or I mean, want to let's say undertake in this field. Maybe you could tell us a little bit more. Let's have a little focus on voiceover business.
Yeah, the fundamentals of voiceovers are the following. First, you need to have a very good narration style. So when you read, you shouldn't make mistakes. That's one. Two, you should have what we call an acceptable pronunciation.
Okay.
Everybody has an accent.
Oh yeah.
I do have an accent when I speak English, probably French, but I read very well. So when you read, people should be happy listening to you. Let me give you an example. You see when you have kids at home and they are all over the place, you try to calm them down, they don't want to stop. What do? You play cartoons.
Oh yeah.
When you play cartoons, what do you hear?
And then,
hello, ladies and gentlemen. Young girl, have you seen the bird in the forest? And then you see your kids are like, they are captivated by the voice. That's the power of the voice. So it's a very powerful industry. But voiceover is only one tiny domain. There are also many other domains on the internet. There's writing, there's graphic design, there's architecture. I classified about 40 to 50 different types of jobs you can do online.
Okay.
So as an entrepreneur and also as a motivator, I started organizing webinars for free. So for example, 2 weeks ago, we organized a webinar on how to avoid online job scams. Because there's a lot of scams, and people always lose money, give their private information, give their credit card details, which is not supposed to be the case. Online jobs is set with rules, regulations, and different types of platforms. So that's what I teach them. So voiceover is completely a whole different thing. And you talk about conference interpreting. This is also another domain which is not too much known to Gabonese first and also Africans. And they think that when you're in church and you're interpreting for a pastor, you are an interpreter. You are an interpreter, but you are not a conference interpreter. Just like we have sign language interpreter.
Okay.
Just like we have music interpreter, movie interpreter. Yeah. So it's a very big domain. So I encourage people to always follow me online, to listen to more. Because people call me and they're like, what do you do? What do you do? What is it about? So every time I have to teach them all over again.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Thank you one more time for being here. And ladies and gentlemen, you're watching The Guest. We are on Gabon 24. So let's a little bit put a focus on this conference interpreter. Is it true or false that most of the time conference interpreters do already have a document that you are given, and then I mean you already have every let's say all the information required, I mean from the speakers, and then all you do is the person speaks and then you read. How does it work?
In normal circumstances, an interpreter is supposed to be equipped, because an interpreter is not fundamentally a scientist.
Okay.
He might be a military, but he has to interpret for a science conference. So he definitely needs speeches, he needs documents, he needs the agenda. But guess what? The reality on the ground is totally different. They can call you a few hours before the show, and they're like, we need you right now. And you're like, what is it about? No, it's confidential. Come right now. And when you come, you are surprised to see the topic. You've never seen the topic before.
Yeah.
It's about biological chemistry, artificial intelligence, and you're like, I didn't get prepared. And they're like, we don't have any documents.
My God.
So it's not always like that. When we train people, we always tell them, don't always expect to have the speech.
Okay.
Even when you have a speech, a head of state can change the trajectory. Sometimes they are bored, they're like, oh man, these speeches. And then they start improvising.
My God.
You've seen it a lot, you know, in different summits.
Tricky,
absolutely. Even on the One Forest Summit, some people would just take the mic and they speak anyhow. The fundamental of conference interpreting is to have a very good general knowledge of almost everything. You should know everything. You're not a professor, but you should know what to be a professor is. You're not a doctor, but you should know what to be a doctor is. And it requires a lot of time, and then you need to have accuracy and speed to speak at the same time with the main speaker, to understand what he says, if he makes a joke, to interpret the joke in both languages,
that's the big deal,
it's a
right?
difficult job.
You talked about the One Far East Summit, which you
Yep.
took part in, and let's little bit put a focus in here. What is the role? I mean, I can imagine you were maybe a conference interpreter, right?
That's right, yes.
So, what are the mechanisms to be invited to take part in such an event?
Yeah, for such events, we have what we call requirements for interpreters, conference interpreters, not all the interpreters, because there are many interpreters. There are interpreters who can help you get the badges, interpreters who can help you if you don't speak French to take you to the bus. These are normal, like tour guides. They are also kinds of interpreters, but they are not the conference one. The conference interpreter stays in what we call the booth.
Okay.
It is a sound, or it's a well-regulated, soundproof kind of studio, which is mountable, and then where you can speak, nobody can hear you unless they put the headset. So the conditions are the following. Generally, we require you to have a certificate of an interpreter, so like a master's degree, that's the fundamental.
Okay.
Or you can also be part of an international association, such as AIC, which is the International Association of Conference Interpreters, for which I'm a member.
Okay.
I became a member when I moved to Rwanda. We're only two. In Gabon, we have also two members, our colleagues. I worked with them yesterday.
Oh.
And we have also members all over the continent, all over the world. So it's a huge international association. So once you fill those requirements, then you can be invited. We don't just take improvisers. We don't just take somebody who teaches English,
Yep.
or somebody who teaches French, or somebody
see
who
it.
claims he teaches two languages. You know what?
That's the
you
biggest.
can mess it
Oh, yeah.
right live, and the conference can be completely jeopardized.
All right.
So that's what it is. It's a very demanding job.
We just.
I'm not trying to discourage learners.
Yeah.
It's very passionate. I love it, but be prepared.
All right. I think we've reached the end of this TV program, and I'm sorry we had a lot to say, right?
So much to say.
But two last questions, if you allow me to. Definitely. Suppose a young leader from Gabon wants to, let's say, to follow your way, right? Can you help him out if you are contacted?
Absolutely. I can help them in so many things. I can coach them if they're already interpreting students. I can coach them with the experience because I've been doing this job for 13 years. I can also coach them in voices. I can show them how they can monetize their voice if they have a studio. If they don't have a studio, they can use the wardrobe. I have videos on teaching them how they can turn the wardrobe into a professional studios, recording books, movies, advertisement, and so on and so forth. And I also have social media channels. I can give my number if you allow me.
Yeah. Your
All right,
number and your
my
social.
phone number, you can get me on WhatsApp on +250 790 719 909 or +250 781 305 946. And then my email is totoloworld, like the whole world, @gmail.com.
You have a last word, please.
There we go. So my last word is that Africans should stop complaining that there is no job. It's true there's no job. There's unemployment. It's everywhere. It's not just in Rwanda, in Gabon. But internet is a very powerful tool. So don't use it just for selfieing, see me at the birthday party, during the wedding, but you can also use it for social media and monetize whatever content you have. So be careful about the content that you have. Be careful about the data that you use, because if you're a teacher, you can teach online. If you're a gardener, you can do gardening online. If you're a chef, you can do chef online. Do you know that?
Oh.
Yeah. If you are, if you're a graphic designer, you can do graphic designers online. For more details, kindly just contact me.
We'll appreciate to have you back here one more time, okay?
Yeah, I'll definitely come back. It's been 10 years. It's a beautiful experience. Yesterday, I took our beer. I felt like I was a baby.
Thank you for accepting our invitation. We hope to see you next time.
Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's all for today. You've just watched the guest, Stevie Daik Njala Totolo, Managing Director of Gemini Multimedia Limited, freelance conference interpreter and voiceover talent, was our guest. As for me, I'll see you next time. Goodbye for now.